Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, covers the NFL, set to join us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline at Jeff Kerr CBS for his great insight on the NFL and the NFL draft and all things NFL. And he joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. We'll be talking to Jeff more throughout this offseason, getting ready for the draft, post-draft, Eagles, and all, as he joins us now here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Jeff Kerr here on the Sports Bash. Welcome back, Jeff. How you doing, man?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
We're good, man. We're getting closer to the NFL draft. 2 weeks from tomorrow, and I want to get into some of the storylines. So let's pick your brain on this a bit. Lawrence 1, Wilson 2, Jones 3?
I'm not buying it. I think that's a smokescreen. I think the 49ers are taking Justin Fields to 3, and that's it. The one picture I saw today of Kyle Shanahan and Justin Fields kind of smirking at each other, I would have loved to have been fly on that wall for that conversation, be like, can you actually believe we're taking Matt Jones 3, or do you believe we're taking Trey Lance 3? No, Justin Fields or Trey Lance at 3 for the 49ers, but I think it's truly going to be Justin Fields. I think the 49ers are passing out that smokescreen to a lot of these teams that, hey, we're going to take Mac Jones, or maybe these teams kind of trade up for a guy that's not going to be there. Personally, I think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this draft, not the third best, and I think that's a home run for the 49ers at 3.
All right, so you think there might be a curve at 3, but a quarterback taken. So the first curve might come at 4. So what's more possible? Atlanta makes the pick or Atlanta gets out of there?
Well, here's the thing with Atlanta. I think they're in the driver's seat no matter what at 4. Because really, they could take Kyle Pitts and just say, forget about it. We're going to take our guy. He's there, and that's it. But the Falcons could legitimately trade down a couple spots, maybe with the Carolina Panthers, maybe with the Denver Broncos, and still have an opportunity to get a guy like Kyle Pitts. But if you're Atlanta, you might want to take a quarterback yourself. Maybe you take Mac Jones. Maybe you take Trey Lance. Or Trey Lance would be perfect for them, too, because that's a guy they can develop for a year or two. Because Matt Ryan's still a really good quarterback. He's not going anywhere. He's led the NFL in passing yards over the last 3 years. So it's not like Matt Ryan stinks or anything, but you do have to think about your future here. And I'm sure Atlanta knows that, but you can also think about your future and stockpile draft picks. So I think if push comes to shove, Atlanta's going to get an offer they can't refuse and trade down, but if not, I think they're the team that just gets the best player in the draft, bar none, Kyle Pitts at number 4.
All right. Bengals are interesting because they usually screw this up. If I'm the Bengals, I'm taking Penei Sewell. I got to protect my asset from last year, but Jamar Chase, Burrow, they played together. So jump inside the Bengals war room for us.
I'll tell you what, the Bengals are going to have a decision to make if Kyle Pitts is past 4, because if you take Kyle Pitts at 5, even though you need Penei Sewell or an offensive lineman, it's hard to pass on a tight end there. And they really don't have a lot of strength at that position. If you can get a generational tight end to pair with Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and a lot of those wide receivers, I think you take that opportunity. But it's not the worst thing in the world that the Bengals do chase Jamar Chase. I mean, yeah, A.J. Green has been, he's gone now, and he wasn't exactly good last year, but that's still a big part of your offense you're missing here. He was a veteran presence for that wide receiver room. So if I'm the Bengals, I take the safe pick, the smart pick, Penei Sewell. You protect Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has already torn his ACL because you're already throwing the ball, 40 times a game with him? I mean, Joe Burrow almost broke Drew Bledsoe's NFL record for pass attempts in the game last year, and that was only his second or third career game. You have to protect him. If you're going to throw the ball like that, protect Joe Burrow. Go get the offensive lineman, but I wouldn't be shocked if they took Kyle Pitts if he was there at 5, and I definitely wouldn't be shocked if they took Jamar Chase there because, again, that's that quarterback-wide receiver combo. The Bengals can always bangle it up, but I would draft the offensive lineman.
Me too. I agree. 6 would be Miami, and, of course, Miami's moved all over the place, so I guess there's a chance that they could do something else here. But they got Mike Gesicki, nice athletic tight end. I like him, young guy. But if Pitts is there at 6, do they go and add the double tight end? Is Chase in play here? What's your read on Miami?
I think Miami has had their eyes on Jamar Chase the entire time. I think, personally to me, Kyle Pitts is very nice. And, they could have drafted him at number 3, but it was smart for the Dolphins to trade back and then find a trade partner with the Eagles to trade back up again. So now you still might get the guy you always wanted at number 6. And to me, if I'm Miami, I would take Jamar Chase. You pair him with Will Fuller Devontae Parker, Preston Williams, and you got a dominant wide receiver core for Tua Tagovailoa. And look, you still have Mike Gesicki there. It's not like he's terrible. And Durham Smythe, he's a very good blocking tight end. I know Brian Flores likes to run a lot of two tight end sets. You can't do much worse than those two there. You got one of the better receiving tight ends in football, one of the better blocking tight ends in football. You have a solid offensive line, but also you need another first-round pick there anyway at number 18. So you can address that offensive line later. Go get the best player on the board, get Jamar Chase, and allow this quarterback who I was on record of saying last year, I thought Tua had the potential to be the best out of three between Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and him. And I still think that's a possibility. Obviously, my opinion has changed a lot because I was a big fan of Justin Herbert last year, too. But I would go Jamar Chase and just load up for him at wide receiver.
All right. That would be an interesting spot there. Detroit, they are in the Bengals realm where, they usually mess this up. They're at 7, but I feel like, by the way, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, covers the NFL, is with us breaking down draft. I feel like the Lions have kind of been the one team, like, no one's talking about trading up, trading out. Are they going to take a quarterback? No, they just got Goff. So they're a tough one to get a read on here.
This is the team. I did the perfect draft plan for the Lions today for CBS. And the one thing I said they should do, trade down from number 7 and get more picks. They only have 6 picks in this draft. And there are going to be teams hungry to move up in that number 7 spot, especially if Trey Lance or Mac Jones are still on the board. And you can add a couple picks. Say the New England Patriots want to trade with the Detroit Lions to go up from 15 to 7. Say the Chicago Bears want to go up from 20 to 7. Or Washington wants to go from 19 to 7. Then you could get more picks. And look, this is the problem with Detroit here. Rashad Perriman and Tyrell Williams are nice one-year deals. They're not the answer at wide receiver. Like, they're good for a year, but you need assets. And, yeah, Jamar Chase would be very, very enticing if he would fall to number 7. But I have the Dolphins taking Chase. Do you go Devonta Smith? Do you go Jalen Waddle? No, I think you trade down and you get one of the second-tier wide receivers. If you want to call them a second tier, the Tonys of the world, the Terrence Marshalls, I don't think that's a bad idea. And I think the Lions need help on the offensive line, especially since I'm hearing they want to move Halapaa Lute-Vaitai, the guard. So that leaves a big hole at right tackle. They could go offensive line here. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to trade down, stockpile more picks. So I don't know who they would trade for number 7. Personally, I think the Denver Broncos would be perfect to move up from 9 to 7, but I think Detroit trades down.
All right, there you go there. 8's interesting. Carolina could trade. They got Darnold. They can move up. They can get out. People could call them. They are another very interesting team. They just got Darnold. Do they need an offensive lineman to protect him? Do they need a weapon for him to connect with? Carolina, I find to be an interesting team as well.
This is a team where if one of those quarterbacks are on the board, they're going to have a decision to make because they do have a quarterback in Sam Darnold, but they had a quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater last year too, and they only committed to him for 1 year, and now they want to get rid of him. So I think they're going to kind of sit at number 8, see how the board plays out. If there's a quarterback at 8 and a team wants to trade up, I think they trade down and get their offensive lineman later, but they could always get their offensive lineman at 8, especially if Cincinnati decides to pass on Penei Sewell. I think it's a perfect fit for them. I think they need to do whatever they can to make sure Sam Darnold is protected or he's going to have the same fate as he did in New York. I think Carolina stays there and just waits to see what the draft board plays out.
All right, let's go to Denver, another team that not a lot of buzz. They're going to trade in, trade out, stay there. Defense, offense, they need weapons. They need a quarterback. They like defense out there. They got a defensive-minded coach. So, Denver Broncos, offense, defense, or out?
This is the tough one for me. I think if there's a quarterback there, they take a quarterback no matter what. If there isn't one, Michael Parsons would be very intriguing for that defense. I'm not saying they're going to take him, but he'll be on the board at 9. I'm pretty sure the Broncos know that. And again, I think this is where they can get a quarterback at number 9. I think it'll be the last one available. Maybe it will be Mac Jones. I still think the Mac Jones at 3 is a smoke screen. I don't think he'll go that high. I think he'll go high, but I think it's maybe as high as number 9 or that's where I think the last quarterback will be taken. So I think Denver will be in position to get a quarterback. I think they get their quarterback as competition for Drew Lock. They don't trade for Teddy Bridgewater. They just wait and see how the draft board plays out, and they get their quarterback.
All right, that would be interesting if they ended up taking a quarterback because that means another quarterback's off the board, which means there's more in play at 10 For Dallas, now Dallas is interesting because New England's back there. I guess that would mean there's only one quarterback potentially left on the board. So does Dallas say, you know what? We'll move back and see what falls to us at 15. Do they stay there, take a defensive player? Do they get greedy and get themselves a wideout?
So this is what I think. I think all 5 quarterbacks could be gone by 9. I think Denver gets the last one. So that's where I think the whole trade scenario or trade frenzy comes in. So I'm looking at Dallas as, okay, Patrick Surtain's on the board. You need a cornerback. You definitely need a boundary cornerback. You really got to fix up that defense. You don't need Kyle Pitts. You don't need more offense. They could go offensive line here, but I think with Patrick Surtain on that board, or heck, even Micah Parsons on that board, I think you go defense. I think you run to the podium and select one of those two, but I think they get Patrick Surtain.
All right. That would be obviously a little bit of blow at 12 to Philly. I mean, Surtain would probably be high on their best player available board to who they think would be there. But you got the Giants sitting right there. Giants can go in a variety of directions, Jeff. You got wide receivers still. You've got offensive line. How about a edge rusher or a linebacker type? We haven't seen one of those off the board yet. So handicap the Giants.
So if you're the Eagles here, and I'm already thinking Eagles, it doesn't matter who the Giants take. They take Michael Parsons, brilliant. They take an offensive lineman, Rashad Slater, Christian Darrisaw, brilliant. You take Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle, brilliant. You're still going to get one of those players. So if I'm looking at the Giants, I don't think they need a receiver as bad as they think they need a receiver. I think what the Giants do is they just take the best player available, and I think this guy is going to be a stud in their defense. I think he'd be a stud in the Eagles' defense too, and that's Michael Parsons. And I just think they take him at 11. He's there. You put him in Patrick Graham's defense. He can go after the quarterback. He can cover. He's going to be a force for years to come. I think the Giants build their team off of a strong defense, and I think Michael Parsons leads that. You take him at 11.
Interesting. That leaves you Philly 12, and you just mentioned. So breaking down what we just did, if that's what happens and it gets to 12 and what plays out happens, do you look back and say the Eagles, not that you're saying they made a bad deal, but do you say, man, this really played out well for them?
I think this really played out well for them. I think the Eagles knew what they were getting. Oh, by the way, you're going to get an extra first-round pick for a guy you would have probably picked at 6 anyway. The decision is, can Howie Roseman screw this up? Does he take the one Alabama wide receiver or the other Alabama wide receiver, Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle? Now, this scares me a lot with Howie Roseman. Did you know, Mike, 96 Alabama players have been taken since Saban became coach in 2007, and the Eagles are the only team to never take one? I'm not even counting Jalen Hurts on this because, you know, he was Oklahoma. So the Cowboys only took 2. The Eagles only took 0. That scares me, but you don't pass on Devonta Smith, the Heisman Trophy winner. You don't pass on Jalen Waddle, who probably would have been the Heisman Trophy winner if he didn't get hurt. I think Waddle is the more explosive player. I think he's the guy with the Tyreek Hill potential, the guy Jalen Hurts and this offense desperately needs. You pair him with Jalen Reagor, but, man, you can't go wrong with Devonta Smith here. Perfect possession receiver, excellent route runner, makes defenders miss. You can use him in so many ways. I think no matter who Nick Sirianni takes here, they win. No matter who Howie Roseman takes here, they win. It's just the matter of which, it's a matter of which good player is going to be better. And I don't care who they take at this point. I would personally take Jalen Waddle if he's there at 12 and let Devonta Smith slip, but you can't get upset they take Devonta Smith either. I think both are perfect for what the Eagles are trying to do.
Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, NFL. There we go. We went from 1 to 12. We'll do more leading into the draft, more NFL. Jeff will be with us more throughout this draft process and into the mini camps and the training camps, if they have those. We'll have plenty more here on the Eagles, on the NFL. So many names that we didn't mention, too, that would be in play. J.C. Horn, Caleb Farley, Kwity Paye, Vera Tucker. I guess you could go to the back end now, like Elijah Moore. We talked a little bit about that second group of wide receivers. Do the Eagles think about moving back in? Is there a player that starts to fall in the 20s that the Eagles move back in for?
I think Terrence Marshall could be one, but I'm already assuming they drafted the wide receiver. So what about Greg Newsome, the cornerback?
Yep.
I think that'd be a guy the Eagles could trade up for. Maybe even – I don't even think this is a reach. You would draft Asante Samuel at the end of the first round. If he's there, I think he's a guy to me, Asante Samuel Jr. is better in the slot, but a lot of cornerbacks play a slot these days. I still think he needs a lot of work as a boundary corner. But if Greg Newsome's there, I think you trade up, and I think you get him, no matter what. You got your starting cornerback there to pair with Darius Slay for the next couple seasons. I think that's a guy you trade back in the 20s for. If a quarterback falls to the Eagles at 12, say they draft J.C. Horn, which could be Howie Roseman's strategy here. You draft a guy like J.C. Horn, who I think is going to be excellent in this league. You draft him, you're going to have your pickings of trading back in the first round for Terrence Marshall, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, Kadarius Toney. That's an embarrassment of riches for them. It just matters of which one do you want or which one do you think is going to be the best fit for you. This is why I went wide receiver at 12, because I think it's just hard to screw it up at 12 compared to the 20s, as the Eagles did over the last year. And nothing against Jalen Reagor. I think Jalen Reagor is still going to be a really good player in this league, but I always look back on it, especially when I watch Brandon Ayuk play or Justin Jefferson. I'm like, man, the Eagles could have them.
G. Higgins, another guy, second round, ended up being the second best guy out there. Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports NFL. You can follow him at Jeff Kerr, CBS, and he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. I could talk more draft for another hour, but unfortunately I got to go, man.
No problem, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Jeff Kerr, take care. He, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline.